So, calling this meeting to order, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Here.
Graziano?
Here.
Natari?
Here.
Rovell?
Here.
Strumelob Burke?
Okay.
Mayor Melham?
Here, sunshine notice?
Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was published in the December 19th editions of the Star Ledger and Belleville Times. A copy of this notice has been posted on the Belleville Town Hall bulletin board, and a copy is on file in the municipal clerk's office.
Second time today. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everybody, welcome to our combined conference regular meeting. We have some items for discussion. Usually we do this in our first meeting of the month. This is technically our first meeting this month, even though it falls in our second category. So, the first item up for discussion is we are going to receive Township Manager Iacono to present his much anticipated Washington Avenue maintenance plan. Floor is yours. Just speak loudly, sir.
I will speak as loud as possible. Just take a copy. I'm going to walk you through this.
This is a draft. Do you have the original, the one for today?
No, I was make sure I put draft so I can get some good feedback from the council after I talk, so nothing concrete. But making some great progress with this Washington Avenue action plan. I'm just going to go and just go over some brief bullet points and explain what the next steps would be, because actually some of the steps in our action plan are already in place without spending much money or actually spending no money. So that's the good news. There are some substantial improvements that would require us putting some money into the capital budget, and I will discuss that as we go along. But basically, in summary.
Yeah, just give us the high-level overview.
Okay, thank you, sir. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep Washington Avenue in a very respectable manner as far as trash. We are adjacent to the largest city in New Jersey, and that creates some challenges because of the high traffic pedestrian usage that we have. So this has to be a 7-day-a-week operation. We can't go on cleaning Washington Avenue 5 or 6 days because we lose it on the 6th day when we come back to it. We're always chasing. So some of our, I put together a 10-step plan. And again, the first step is that we have to replace the existing trash receptacles on Washington Avenue. The ones that we have now are not only outdated, they're in terrible shape, they're actually an eyesore. So they have much newer receptacles. I do include a picture somewhere in the back of the mushroom caps. That's what we're proposing. But again, I know the mayor and I think Councilman Cosarelli had a conversation this past weekend, that maybe there's another receptacle out there. But I just want you to know that, whether it's clean community money or a capital budget, we put together a budget to replace every single receptacle. We also already hired additional, what we call push street carts. These are outdoor street carts. We have 2 more on order, so
You said hire, and we didn't hire anybody.
Did I say hire?
You did.
Purchase.
I don't want somebody to take that the wrong way.
We are giving out violations because, as we know, it's a mixed use. Washington Avenue, we have commercial, we have residential. Unfortunately, in some cases, whether it's the business or some of the residential units on top of the businesses, they're putting household garbage out on Washington Avenue, and they're actually using our receptacles. We have to continue to issue violations because that's clearly something that is really a problem and an eyesore. We're in constant contact with our solid waste contractor, and we're making adjustments there, and we will continue to do that. I spoke about a garbage packer several meetings ago. Having a small compactor that could do Washington Avenue on Saturdays and Sundays would be huge. Also, if our garbage contractor, for whatever reason, missed a stop or they missed an entire day, we would be able to, on an immediate emergency basis, jump in and do that. So part of our plan would include that in our capital. We also we talk about.
That's open for discussion though, right? That's not again.
No, it would have to be approved in the capital budget by the mayor and council. That's just ideas and suggestions on what we could do for a 7-day week of operation. In my action plan, we developed a property maintenance inspector specifically to include duties to oversee the Washington Action Plan. So as much as there's needs for what I refer to as a property maintenance inspector in the town overall to look at seedy, abandoned properties and overgrown areas on commercial, residential, that inspector would be responsible for that. But if we're bringing in the property maintenance inspector, and if you go to
I apologize. I don't want to keep interrupting you, but I know some of our audience.
Yes.
You're not proposing hiring anybody new at this point.
No, with the exception, not of hiring anybody new, but to create a title and use somebody already working for us, already on the payroll, just assigning additional duties and responsibilities. If you take a look at page 4 where it talks about the property maintenance inspector, if that's his title, we can change it once we finalize it. That person would have the ability, and I'm gonna work with Steve on this, the ability to issue fines and violations for code violations in the street. So that, yeah, I know we're gonna talk about that later because that's definitely in great need of one, but that person can be walking down Washington Avenue and notice a property that has overgrown weeds, and they can address that as well. One of the additional duties that we would ask is to create a working relationship with the business owners on Washington Avenue. Maybe we actually even develop a Washington Avenue Business Association where the business owners on Washington Avenue meet once a month and come up with ideas to have sidewalk sales and to promote business on Washington Avenue, since it is one of our main business, for better words, district. So that person can develop relationships with the store owners and business owners, and that I think will help everybody chipping in, keeping Washington Avenue a little cleaner. So, I mean, at this point, the plan is ready to be put in place. I don't have a dollar number up yet on some of the things, because again, I would have to come before the mayor and council to include in the capital budget. But as an example, we did get a price, I think, for 31 or 32 new receptacles for about $35,000. That would, our clean community money would qualify if we want to use it for such items. So that's my action plan. Certainly, I know we're going to get back and talk about the inspector later, but it all comes together, and I think it works, and I think we'll make some great improvements on Washington Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Iacono. I have to say, I've gotten a lot of compliments in the last couple of days about how the condition of Washington Avenue, how it's clean. As you know, I text you all weekend long pictures of overflowing garbage cans. So, but people do acknowledge the fact that it's looking cleaner. People love seeing DPW walking it. People love seeing that we're taking pride in the appearance. I agree with you totally with the property maintenance inspector. Again, don't miscategorize my words. We're not talking about hiring another person. I'm not a fan of the capital. I'm not a fan of the capital expense of hiring a compactor. I've seen us purchase equipment here, and I'm not a fan of that one at this point, but who knows? So I think it's a great start. I want to see it implemented. I know that this council has talked many times about property maintenance. The problem is, and Anthony can attest to this, today I sent him 3 or 4 emails today about grass that's 3 feet long. We don't really have a department or a person to go to. I go to Anthony, Anthony goes to Mr. DiLorenzo. Mr. DiLorenzo can sometimes free up an inspector, sometimes it goes down to the health. They have to go out and do it. We need a quick reaction go-to person, especially in spring and summertime where we are now. So I thank you for this. Comments?
Yeah, I do, and hopefully that would address also the graffiti piece of it, right? Because that's property.
I should definitely include a component for graffiti, because that is definitely a quality of life challenge that we deal with every day. We have the unofficial advertising signs all over town.
Yep.
That would also be included in this plan. So yes, graffiti, any quality of life issue would fall under this, correct?
And then my assumption is also, we took into consideration that people will change their hours, right? It's just not gonna be,
We have Saturday and Sunday now.
We have
Saturday,
Saturday, we have Saturday, we're working on Sunday.
right, so they'll change your hours to move, right? It's not gonna be like.
And the Saturday, just because I'm trained, because I don't want to be answering these questions all week long.
I'm with you.
The Saturday person that works is not being paid overtime.
Right.
Mr. Iacona negotiated that with DPW. We have a Saturday crew now.
It's actually
We're-
3 people.
3. We're looking to expand that to Sunday. Again, no overtime,
Right, that's where I was going, okay.
because we have to
I'm with you, thank you.
put that out there. Okay, so any council members that are on the phone have any comments, suggestions, anything for Mr. Iacona? Okay.
No, I'm here, Michael. I think it's a great idea, I really do. Quality of life, but you know what? I'm gonna get on the same page that I was last year at this time. Quality of life is not only cleanliness and keeping the properties clean in Washington Avenue, it also has to do with sound. And you know what? There's been a lot of complaints, even people seeing your board in Louisiana States are complaining with the music blasting all the time. Yeah, that brings down quality of life big time, big time. And you saw that with my part-time too. Yeah, and we did have sound ordinance last year that we tried, and we really need to get strict with this because it's ridiculous. You know, I know it's other towns, I don't have this, it's only over here. So again, I'm going to really be on this summer, not only for everybody, you know, it's just not fair to people, and a lot of people are moving out because of this. So I just want you to know that, how I feel.
Okay.
I
Vi-
agree, Mr. Mayor. That's the one that broke. Yeah. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, it's like a park. It's like it's a park. It's not a park. It's terrible. It's too comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, I think the manager heard the comments. Deputy Mayor, do you have anything? You didn't?
No, I like the draft, everything is good in here. I just want to go over the garbage cans before you actually order
Yep.
them, because those tops look great, but then I also see them thrown the actual tops, if they're not connected, thrown onto the sidewalk. Someone just picks it up and puts the bag in.
Right.
So they gotta be like secured somehow or something.
There is a locking
Like a
device.
lock, yeah.
I'm gonna get one as a
Yeah.
sample,
Mhm.
and we'll take a look at
See
it.
how it
If we
goes,
don't
yeah.
like that one, we'll try a different one.
Yeah,
The-
as long as it can lock and our DPW guys could.
The company would be
Whatever.
more than happy to keep sending us one
Right.
as a,
Trial.
Yep.
All right.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to move on. Item number 2 for discussions is the Soho Sitting Park update. The reason why I put that on the agenda is, one, it's called an update, and for those of you who don't know, and it seems like a lot of you might not know, for the past year and a half or so, we've been actively dealing with this, and I believe our town attorney is got a plan, and it's already being put in place as far as what the next steps are. So I just want, I guess, an update for the council. If you could just speak as loudly as possible, Steve.
Yes, so this has been going on for as long as the Soho Sitting Park is there. A portion of the park is not owned by the town, it's owned by the adjacent property owner. After going back and forth with the property owner, he's agreed to allow the township to make a application for a subdivision with the planning board, at which time he will transfer that portion of the property that he owned to the township, and that error will be corrected. The planning board application has already been filed by me. I'm just waiting to hear back from their office to determine whether my application was, anything's missing and whether it's complete. And then at some
9
point,
days.
that will go forward. It's a minor subdivision, and it's really just taking the property off the property owner's property, and he will then, the only thing the township is going to be, he will then be taxed that much less land. That's-
So he's been paying tax this entire time on that
Well,
property?
subsequently, he did file, he did, he did file tax, he did, for a number of years he did, and then he filed tax appeals, and those tax appeals were resolved with the tax assessor, And so he's not, and that's only land value, so it's not a significant reduction, but he has not been paying taxes because it's been taken into consideration that he no longer has use of that property.
I see. But, I mean, and it's a decent size, I mean,
It's a pie shape.
this is, Ben, you see this?
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, this is
Yeah.
substantial.
It's a pie
Now,
shaped piece of property.
what I don't understand is how did we put a fence, how did we put electric, there's a PSE&G, electric monitor there, there's electrical, how did we not get permits to do any of that stuff? I mean, how can you do that on somebody else's property?
That was long before me. So I don't know how it was done. In fact, I actually looked for, I searched for a survey for,
I have a survey, if you want to see it.
Councilman Burke said she has a survey if you wanna see it.
okay, that's fine. I would love to see
I
it.
know there's nobody on property there that they hold access. You only have a 9-foot piece of property that's on.
I can't hear you.
Is that the Morris Canal property?
No, that's not the Morris Canal property. No.
Yes, it is, the Morris
Not not the property.
We made them use that whole piece of property that is not paying taxes. This is going on fences. I think this is out to stop.
I didn't hear,
9-foot piece of property.
Councilwoman Burke, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but I can assure you
Yes, I have.
it's 1/3 of the entire property. It's not 9 feet, it's 1/3 of the entire property.
It's 9
Well,
feet.
I have all the the papers you can look at.
Okay, I would like to see them for my planning board application, because that survey is not with the engineering department, it's not with the clerk's office. So Mr. Herritz had to get his own survey. Tom Herritz got the survey for me, and that's what I used for the application. That property, that portion of the property is not on the Morris Canal. The portion
The
of,
piece that he's poking on is, I'm sorry to say,
what's that?
the piece of property that he's poking upon, that homeowner, is on the Morris Canal.
She's now talking, she's
No,
not
we're
talking
not
at the back of the property.
We're not talking about the back of his property. I don't know anything about that. I'm just talking about the piece of property that the Soho Sitting Park is on, that is titled in that property owner's name. That's the only thing I know about, and I was asked to handle, and that planning board application has been filed.
Now, can I say something? You have to look at the town attorney, well, that was Mr. Murphy then, the town manager, and they're the ones that approved it. I only got the money involved and blah, blah, blah. So,
Hey,
whatever it
Steve.
is, you have to straighten it out.
Yes, Councilman Ravel.
Steve, so what we're trying to do here is get this correct.
Exactly, that's all we're doing.
Yeah, we're just trying to correct.
Okay, and that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
fine.
That's what we're doing. I'm trying to correct it by doing the subdivision, and it just, and the property owner already signed off on it to allow me to make the application, so.
Thank you.
Until that happens, is there any liability that they have or we have? I mean, there's electric on it, there's a fountain on it.
Well,
there's-
I'm assuming all that was done correctly. I would think that if anybody fell on that property, the township, just like the rest of the property that the township owns, the township would be responsible for it.
Town doesn't own it.
He doesn't accept the township control of it, so.
So the town controls it, but we don't own it.
We don't own it, but we control it and maintain it, and that's enough,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna, I'm assuming nobody else has anything to add to that? Okay, we're gonna
I
move,
can hear you, sir.
I said, I'm assuming that nobody else has anything to add, we can move on?
Mayor, I had a question in regards to, you mentioned before that the property owner was paying taxes on this. So is there any responsibility on the township side in terms of returning taxes that have already been paid. I just want to clarify because it's a little hard to hear. So I just wanted to clarify that that's what was said, and also whether we have any responsibility in terms of taxes he's already paid to us.
Steve?
No, there's not, as part of our discussions with him, he's not gonna make, that's already been done. All of his appeals and stuff
Exactly.
have already been done.
Exactly.
He's made appeals. He is paying tax on that portion. It's,
Well, the value, the land value has been reduced in accordance with the tax assessor's discussions with him.
Right.
So that technically, even though he's being taxed on the whole land, the value of the entire land piece has been reduced. The value of the entire land piece has been reduced to account for the fact that he doesn't have use for that other piece of property, have use of that.
so his overall taxes came down a little bit because he's not using that piece.
Right, and it won't change very much even after we're done.
Okay. Alrighty.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna move on to item number 3, which has got my name on it, a couple different things. I'm gonna ask Anthony to go quickly through. I've been asking just for some large-scale updates. You know, we've all been working through Corona, and it's been a different world here at Town Hall, but I don't think that meant we stop, and I don't think we have. So that's why I was just asking Anthony for an update predominantly on 2 different projects. Our lead line replacement, for those of you who don't recall, we are under a federal, what would you call it, Steve? A federal mandate to replace about 700 lead service lines, which that is a project this town has to do, 700 lines. We're under a mandate for that, and also something that we've been talking about or hearing about, this two new ball fields up at the high school and a track. Again, 2 years ago, I saw this as part of campaign literature 2 years ago. Here we are 2 years later, it looks exactly the same. So I'd like Anthony to quickly just give us an update on both those 2 projects.
So as far as our lead line replacement, Tom Harretts, we met with him maybe about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He said that it was gonna take 6 to 8 weeks to prepare the document to go out to bid. It was a rather lengthy document to go out to bid. We were using Newark and I believe Bloomfield's, a cross combination. Both Mark and I sat down with Tom, we went over it. He promises us to have the bid document, which is the actual next step. We need the bid document to go out to bid. We hope to be out to bid from this point, probably within 4 weeks, but it's a total of 8 weeks to get that.
Do we have certain streets or locations identified?
We
How do you go to bid if you don't know what street you're doing? That's the part I'm confused about.
because it's per household.
I understand that, but if you're gonna do Greylock Parkway,
So
the
the-
street's wider, it's a longer, you know.
Well, actually, the way that Newark did it, they did it per home, okay, from the middle of the street to the curb into the property owner. But more important, we do have, and we've identified 20 some odd streets that are going to get repaved. So clearly, if we could do those streets, because after they're done replacing the lead line, we would go in, do sidewalks, curbs, and mill the street. That would be the best case scenario. So we do have for better words, we have some streets that are projected based on our DOT money.
Do we have, those are streets for paving and resurfacing. Do we know how much it's gonna cost approximately to do 700 lead service lines?
I could give the numbers that, Bloomfield and Newark is between $4,000 and $8,000.
So
So we know it's not
6.
gonna be more than 8 and it's not gonna be less than 4.
So if you average it out to 6,000 times 700,
Right.
it's $500,000.
$500,000. We've been working with our finance team and our financial advisor to present to the council 2 or 3 options on how you would want to finance it. We could finance it up to 20 or 30 years.
Homeowner.
Homeowner.
Right. Okay, so that's, I understand
The
that.
second project, we have been working with Green Acres to be able to proceed with the project up at the high school field that the mayor referred to. We have 2 proposals. I was waiting for a third. There was a delay on the proposals because we had to wait for Green Acres to give us the okay on the soil reports that were submitted. We only received the approvals on the soil reports. So I am, and I actually emailed it to the council late today for your review. I'm going to send you 3 proposals with a recommendation. So at the next council meeting, we award to the engineer, which would be the next step in the project, to award to the engineer to provide for the plans for the fields and tracks, and we'll hopefully be out to bid within 30 to 45 days.
We have, correct me if I'm wrong, we had about $1 million in Green Acre
Then
Bank.
we
We received,
we received notice for allocation for an additional. So
Right.
right now we have 2 million, and there could be additional money.
do we think this project is gonna go north of 2 million?
Without speaking specifically to the engineers, I don't know for sure, but normally the answer is yes, because it is a very big project. But again, we should be getting additional Green Acre money for 2020, which we haven't counted yet.
I know, but we have to eventually use that for other stuff.
Okay.
Sure, Councilman Graziano?
So in that, the field, are we considering just field and once you show us the plans or proposals, electric for lights?
Yeah. so
Okay, that's all gonna be there.
Lights are included, but again, just so, in the order of steps, next council meeting, we award to the engineer of our choice. At that point, we hold
A bit.
a pre-bid meeting, and at that point, we would say we want to make sure lights are included in that.
ABC, and okay, good.
So again, for the council members that are listening, this is, yet another thing that we as a governing body should be very proud of. I served on this council 20 years ago. Nobody's been able to get a track, and this governing body collectively is going to deliver not only 2 new turf fields, which is going to double the amount of turf fields that we have. We're going to basically deliver a track, which nobody else has been able to deliver. And obviously, there's other things on the agenda that are going to be, again, the first of many things that we're actually getting accomplished. So that's a proud moment for us. I just want to get it done. So that was the update on the lead line replacement and on the track at the high school. Before I move on, any comments on that?
No, thank you. No.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
good.
again, it's something that we all should be very proud of, that we're going to get that done. The next item is item number.
Hello?
Yes?
Hello, this is the CFO. Am I allowed to comment?
Who's that?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
It's Judy. She wanted to make a comment. Judith.
Judith. Okay, Judith, yes. Our
Am I allowed
CFO.
to make a point? Since I'm new, I just want to know you're talking about capital projects. I want to know, we have to check and see if these are already a part of the capital plan, the budget, to be included. That needs to be discussed. And also, are there any ordinances in place for these projects?
Can you repeat that last part?
Okay, are there any ordinances in place for these projects?
Bond ordinances, you said?
Yes.
As of now, no, this is not capital. This has nothing to do with the capital budget at all. This is strictly our Green Acre allotment for the last 2 years.
Everything's covered by Green Acres.
So far.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know, I'm sorry, I didn't.
everything's Green Acres.
Covered
Yeah.
by Green
Everything,
Acres?
right, yeah, we haven't spent any money at all. We haven't spent anything
Okay.
yet, and everything that is proposed is Green Acres allocation from 2018 or 19 and 2020.
Okay. And all funds have to be spent by the end of 2020? By the end of 2020?
The program, the project has to be started because they won't give us the second million until we get until we break ground for the first million.
But normally what happens is if it's 18 and 19, usually 18's got to be done by 20 on most grants.
Okay?
Okay, you know what? I'll have Judith, I'll have you and Anthony sort that out.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm confident that you
Judith,
guys.
I'll send you the Green Acre file tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I'm moving on to item number C now, which is the consideration of property maintenance division. And I think we kind of already covered that in Manager Iacono's Washington Avenue streetscape. Just to be clear, we're not necessarily looking to create a new department within Town Hall, hire people, do all that. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about hopefully reallocating existing workforce to have a person or two be able to do property maintenance. Correct, Mr. Iacono?
That is absolutely correct. We're trying to coordinate the efforts of the health department, the construction department, and the public works department, and even the police department. Right now, they all address certain areas of quality of life issues, and we're trying to kind of put it under one umbrella so that there's coordination between the health department and the construction department and the public works department.
Sounds good to me. I'm gonna move forward next, quickly, painting of yellow curbs this summer. So I can't tell you the last time we painted any curbs in this town. I could see the main streets, the corners are not painted. Obviously, we all know the streets are overcrowded with cars. We all know that every house has multiple vehicles now. It's becoming a problem, and trust me, it's no bigger problem for anybody but me, because I get complaints every single day about speeding, cars being parked on the intersections, accidents. I talk to the chief almost every weekend when there's an accident. Neighbors all reach out to me to enforce the 25-foot rule. Then we start enforcing the 25-foot rule, and I get complaints about the tickets that people are getting. So trust me, this is a sore topic with me, and I believe it might help a little bit if we had curbs painted. To me, that's, everybody knows you can't park on top of a curb, but nobody really goes out there with a tape measure for 25 feet.
Right.
I think that we do need to paint curbs, whether we have to paint a line also in the street, doing that.
I like that.
The chief is already upping enforcements. I have asked the chief to come up with hot spots for accidents. Basically, if, say you're on Girolamo Street and you're trying to peek your way out from Hornblower, if there's a lot of accidents there, it's probably because cars are parked too close to the intersection. The chief and his traffic department are identifying hot spots. That's gonna be where we paint first. That's where we're gonna be stepping up enforcement, and that's where I will get even more complaints about people getting tickets. But it's something that I think we have to do. Yes,
Would you like me to comment on anything?
sure.
Okay. Anyway, the traffic study is nearly finished. I'm gonna get together with Anthony tomorrow and go over it. We do have a plan in place already, and we do have the hot spots identified. Also, a plan is in place to do the yellow curbs. I believe Anthony knows about that too. Got notified today. I just want to add, in the past council did not want to paint the Belgian block curbs, but they would have been done. But so they are been approved to do now, so we will do them.
Right.
That's not a problem. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, I know other municipalities don't paint the curb, they paint the street,
Yeah.
you know, right there.
Yep.
I just want something saying, something yellow indicating no parking.
I like the triangle. Hey, chief, remember on a couple of streets we did the triangle at the corners on the street?
Yeah, we did the box, yeah.
You do the triangle, you come out with the
Yeah,
line,
yeah.
like you said, but then you go to the corner, and then, but you don't paint the actual curb, but you paint
Right.
like the triangle.
We're also gonna have those sticks that go in the corners, and
The
they
sticks,
work
yeah,
great.
the sticks,
They work
yeah.
great in other
So
towns.
there is a plan in place to do all this.
Okay, I'm looking forward
Are we
to
gonna
it.
do crosswalks too? Crosswalks? Yeah, if they need doing, you mean enforcement from the crosswalks?
Right.
We are purchasing the sticks for that. Yeah.
I don't know. Do we do that?
Yes, we do. If you identify any of them that need it, we've been on top of them. We just got done with them. So if there's any of them that you know of, Councilman, we'll gladly get right on it. But we're pretty, we keep up to date on that. If you meant the enforcement of them, we are purchasing.
No, I know what you're doing.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, moving on, I'm gonna move on to item number 4, which is the deputy mayor's 2 items. He's gonna give us an update on BEST. First, he should probably start with telling us what that acronym means.
Best, so, thank you, Mayor. Best was what me and the manager and also the mayor came up with for the Belleville Economic Stimulus Task Force. So we've had a few phone calls on that actually, that myself and the manager have headed up. We have a small group of business owners that wanted to join and offer their services and their long-time experience in the township to help out and give us some ideas. Basically, it's about moving the town forward after all this, because even after with the virus, even after everything is clear, people still might not be willing to come out and go shopping in their local stores. So this gives people not only a little assurance that that they're going to, help the Belleville economy, but also that it's safe and that they're going to be safe while they're doing it. So we came up with a few ideas that we're going to move forward with, which includes, as of tonight, you'll see on our agenda, one of the ordinances allows for outdoor seating at bars and restaurants. We relaxed some of our own ordinances on that. We also waived the fee for a cafe permit to give everyone a little boost also. We have a couple pop-up events we're going to work on to help some of our businesses. We're going to do some ribbon cuttings. Someone suggested doing a town-wide ribbon cutting where we, say that all the businesses are open and whatever. Not yet, but when it comes to that point. Also, we had some ideas about not only healthy economy, but keeping people healthy mentally and both physically and spiritually. So everything kind of goes all together with that, just to give the people the proper assurance that everything is going to be okay. Also, we have an idea for an outdoor flea market, but just for business owners in town that don't have the capability of doing sidewalk sales or curbside. So maybe we were going to see if there's an outdoor space that we could have solely for businesses that can't use their own spaces for that. Because we are allowed to do curbside, but some businesses can't do that. So we were thinking of that kind of like an outdoor thing, and also a town-wide sidewalk sale at some point. So that's kind of the ideas that we have going. If anyone else on the council has some ideas, feel free to shoot us an email, or feel free to speak on the next call that myself and the manager are planning right now.
Hey, this is Councilman Ravel. Through the chair, can I say something here?
Sure, go ahead. This is our conversation, Tom.
Okay, so based upon what's going on with COVID and stuff like that, I'd like to see our focus be on the bricks and mortar establishments, especially at this point, and from a quality of life perspective too. This is, when I look at Ordinance 4, is it possible for us to put that on hold until we get our bricks and mortar establishments back up and running? I mean, that's my concern is our focus should be on the bricks and mortar, the people paying taxes, not mobile vendors. So I just wanted to put that out there for people.
We actually did take that. That's a good point. We did take some of that into consideration, and that's the whole reason why we were going to get the ordinance in place, and then we can set the time when it begins. We did not necessarily want to compete with our brick and mortars as they're just coming out of this. So we were thinking maybe September, October, but at least then we're not going to be scrambling to vote twice and have public hearings and all that. We were going to have it all in place with the exception of a start date.
Yeah, that won't be for a while.
Yeah, but I also have some people that, and I have no objection to doing it for vendors, but just where it's going, I thought that was going to be kind of like a nature park, not a vendor park.
Yeah, it's not a vendor park. I mean, they're going to be in the parking lot, and the whole point, we wanted that natural habitat that is what I think what your vision is, to have people go out there with picnic tables and everything else to be and use that space. But
I don't know how the neighbors feel like it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's a good idea either.
we did work session this 3 times, but okay.
Yeah, I know. And I've gotten feedback when people saw this on the docket.
Okay.
I just say that.
All right. Well, I mean, it's only on for first reading, so we have time. We can do anything we want, obviously.
Yep.
I think Tom Harris is doing a layout also.
Tom's doing a layout?
Yes.
Okay. All right, why don't you go forward, Vin, onto the COA.
Okay, COA. So a number of years back, we established a COA account, which basically some of our development has a percentage of the total. Is she ready?
You
We
good?
good?
You good?
Okay. So we have a co-account that developers place some percentage of their units. Instead of building low-income housing, they deposit money into this co-account. That co-account is then allowed to be used for refurbishing of existing Belleville seniors' housings, as long as they meet the qualifications. I forgot the limit, I think it's about $10,000 a household. It's basically a 10-year loan that's forgiven completely if they stay in the house 10 years. So we have quite a bit of money in the account. However, we still haven't, I know we talked about this a couple months ago, we still haven't designated a specific, we need someone in town hall as a liaison, and some towns also do a council liaison, and I believe we do need the secretary, not the secretary, the attorney, which I think, I don't know, Steve.
We don't need the attorney, we need somebody to administer the program.
The administrator, that's it, yes.
We need the administrator, and I have the list, and
Yeah.
we were gonna start with who our in-house person was gonna be, and that hasn't been determined
Yeah,
yet.
I think we should.
And then the administrator actually does the rest. And so everybody knows, we don't hire the administrator, that administrator is paid out of that account.
Right,
So
I
it
think
doesn't-
10% goes to
yes.
management of
Right,
whatever,
so it gets paid out of the account, so the town isn't incurring any additional
Yeah.
costs to run the program.
Yeah,
So my only,
So that's the rehabilitation fund?
yes, Steve,
Yes.
yes. So I think it's a great program. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in it
And a lot more coming.
and a lot more
Right.
coming. Somebody's got to answer me the question, is it the secretary? Is it the attorney? Is it the administrator? Who actually, I know the administrator can administer the program. The secretary could probably facilitate paperwork. Who markets the program? Because I'm tired of program after program that this town has that nobody knows we have it.
Right.
And yet people are getting paid to administer it, whether people are utilizing it or not. I'm focused on getting the word out there, getting people utilizing it, and then paying the people that have to manage it. Not necessarily paying everybody first, just because we want to pay people, and then nobody comes up with marketing material, collateral, a plan of how we're going to
Yeah.
advertise it. That's what
There's gotta be a
we
plan.
always fail.
absolutely. There's only so much I could reach from my
I know,
Facebook, only
right.
so much you could.
It's
Even
always
2,000, 2,000, we all have a couple thousand, but nowhere near 30,000 people and 40,000.
Would there be money for specifically money set aside for advertising and
No,
marketing?
I don't think we would be able to, it would exceed the 10%, I would think, but the way I'm told is, that we had a meeting about this in Anthony's office, the administrator will, they'll do programs, to get the word out, within the township, and the secretary will also, be able to be trained in doing that.
Okay.
So, yes, it's not gonna be something that, listen, there's money out there for people to improve their houses.
I mean, the county has a program too. Nobody in this town knows it.
Right, right.
I mean,
It's basically the same program.
The county has a program, but
Yeah.
nobody here knows it. You go to construction code,
Right.
nobody knows it.
So I know there's a criteria, right, based on what you're saying, there's a
Right,
process criteria.
senior housing. they
Not
have to
just
be
seniors.
Right, oh, not
Right.
just
No,
seniors?
it's not just seniors.
Oh, okay.
Income eligible.
Income eligible.
Income eligible. So where I go with this is if you have a bucket of money, which is there, and now you have a lot of eligible folks.
Right.
How is it managed to say,
Who gets what?
first come, who
Right.
gets what?
It's usually first, believe it or
First
not,
come, first served.
Right,
served.
Okay, so,
It is.
and that
Once
stuff
you're on
has
the
to be-
list, you get numbered or whatever.
You have to meet all of the criteria, you have to complete the complete application with all the proper document that's required.
And who's gonna help people do that? Like,
That's what the
That's the,
secretary
that's
does.
the
Yeah.
And then it's a tracking piece.
liaison, secretary,
It's
all
a
of the above.
it's a tracking piece in my mind, because you know what's gonna happen, right? There's gonna be backlash, say, oh, well, how come he, how come she, how come
Absolutely.
that? So we have to have really good documentation
Yeah.
and some accountability.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Can we, do you think, do you have the list of the administrators, the
I do.
professionals? Maybe we should, I don't know, have a subcommittee that meets with them or something?
Well,
What do you think?
the mayor and council has to appoint that person, that entity.
Well, we
So
can make.
we could-
He's got a couple to pick
Hypothetically,
from.
if Councilman Cosarelli, myself, and you met, we can make a recommendation to the mayor and council.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
all right, put it on the agenda for, like, let's just do it. I
All
want,
right.
we got hundreds.
Secretary, that's Anthony's job.
Yeah.
Anthony.
And can you
Anthony-
set up,
I'm gonna set up a call for the three of us to go over the list and to review, some guidelines to
Perfect.
address the secretary or whatever liaison, whatever it's titled.
Yeah, perfect.
And put a number, we'll put together, similar to
Okay.
the Washington Avenue action plan, we'll have the co-action plan.
Okay,
And we'll present it to
Hey,
the
the
council.
you're the
the
action
big
man.
challenge I've seen with these plans is always the income restriction.
Right.
And that was part of the problem I saw with the county. Is like, if you made like over 15,000 a year, you couldn't get it. It's like, God, you can't even afford to live for that kind of money.
Believe it or not,
The county has a wonderful program.
You know.
believe it or not,
I mean,
Steve,
I'm not-
I'm actually told the income is actually fairly realistic, because I thought the same thing. I had.
Maybe they changed it.
I had the numbers at some point, but it is actually fairly realistic. I have to say that. It really is. I thought the same thing that you did.
I remember a few years back, it wasn't realistic.
Yeah, it is now.
Talking about the county program or this other program?
Yeah, the county program was kind
Yeah,
of
the
tough.
county, how many people in my area got this program, and you have to stay a certain amount of years, and you
Yeah.
don't have to check. So I think it's a great program. You should work on
We
that.
actually had years ago, about 10 years ago, we had the county come in. We used the senior
That's
housing
right.
building,
Yeah.
and we advertised or whatever, and we had a good turnout that night. It was at the
That's
senior
right.
building for
That's
10
right.
years. What?
I think it was Elvis Rivera in that, actually.
In Belleville, yeah, I forget his name, but Pereira, he actually brought them in, and it was very successful. It was about 10 years ago.
Elvin Pereira.
Elvin Pereira, yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we're all excited about this. So I'm looking forward to. We have a big pot of money. We got hundreds of thousands of dollars that are there and more coming. So it's going to really benefit the entire community. Again, no other council's ever done it with their own money. So that's good. I'm excited about
And it
that.
doesn't, nothing comes out of our own budget.
Nothing.
So it's even better.
All right. We're going to move on.
This is Judy again. I have a question regarding the COA.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Question I have is normally with COA, okay, you have someone that actually reports all the stuff to the state. Does the person have to be trained through COA? They have to go through a program? Hello?
Yeah. I'm waiting.
What was the question?
I don't know if you're making a question or a statement. Is
Well, I'm
it-
saying, so do we have someone like you that does that reporting to the state?
That's the whole idea of hiring the.
I think that's what we're talking about now.
So we have no one currently that does that?
That's correct.
No, we never really had a pot of money before. We finally have a pot of money now. Now we're looking to build the program.
Another benefit of all our development.
Okay, and this money that's coming, is this some separate, other COLA money that's separate? Because there's different types of COLA money.
I couldn't tell you. I know that when the developers come in, we have no housing obligation, no low-income housing obligation. So they pay a
Okay.
percentage of the development to us, so we can put it in an account that can then benefit somebody for rehabilitation.
We were
All
actually
right, so this
sued by
will
the
go
state.
into the
to
regular
put this
COLA
program
account that we
in.
have.
I assume,
Right,
yeah.
a rehabilitation account.
Okay.
And again, this is
I just don't
a,
know because I used to be a COLA liaison, so I more or less know how it works.
okay, good. Well, I'm sure Anthony's gonna tap that knowledge. Thank you.
Maybe designate that.
This isn't, again, this is just so everybody knows, this is another benefit of some of the development that we have doing, because it's these developers that are paying these money into this fund. All right, I'm gonna move forward to item number 5.
Okay.
Okay, so item number 5, executive session. We have no items for executive session?
No.
All right, seeing none, we're moving forward. We're gonna now get going. Item number 6, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, approve the minutes. Second.
I have here a motion and a second. So I'm gonna have the clerk loudly call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natari?
Take no part.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Next item, 7, report of the manager.
My report will be certainly brief. Obviously, the action plan took up a lot of my report. I would like to say to the members of the council and to the residents that are watching tonight, Town Hall workforce came back today as our first official day back at full capacity. All employees did return to work. We're working 8 to 4, normal business hours. We do have certain guidelines in place that practice safe social distancing. So our guidelines include that whether you're a employee, a resident, or a guest, when you come to the building, you must have a mask. You also must have your temperature taken at the entrance, which we use the side entrance of our building. And again, we do this for your protection and the protection of our employees. So it's very, very encouraging that the curve has, so to speak, flattened. And, this process started 70 days ago, okay? And I don't think anybody could ever imagine or plan for such an action. And certainly, we're not over yet. We continue to make major improvements. But from a perspective of Town Hall, we are trying to making ourselves available so residents can come in. Yes, there is a limit of 2 residents per office at one particular time. And again, this is for your protection and the protection of our employees. I know I can speak very freely on behalf of all the employees that are with us on the call tonight and that have come to work today. We send a big thank you to Mayor Melham, who provided the building with lunch today. So Mayor Melham, thank you for lunch.
You're
and I
very
think
welcome.
that concludes my report.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. That was Mary, I think. That was Mary. Okay, thank you, Mr. Iacono. We are off to the report of the mayor, item number 8. So, as the manager mentioned, it's been some time, and in the past month since our meeting, those council members that are here with us today will see some cosmetic and minor improvements here in this room. So, again, we've taken the opportunity to do some projects in the building. Those projects were already approved and in the works in the planning stages almost a year ago. But as we all know, the town hall's never shut down and the court really never stops. So we, along with many other municipalities, by the way, took advantage of the downtime to do some of the projects. So the council, when you return here and you see our council dais, we've long talked about some of the audio video upgrades. We don't have microphones today because they have not wired. Our former microphones were 30 years old. They have not wired them yet, but they're coming. So you will see some nice upgrades, something that I'm very proud of. I think the team here did a great job. Obviously, as the manager said, we had all of our employees back. We had worked a skeleton crew for a while, and I think everybody did a great job. But today it was time to come back. We are back, as the manager mentioned. Town Hall is open for business. We do have advanced protocols that he went through. I do want to mention, we are street sweeping. Besides parking and speeding cars, the biggest complaint or the biggest request I get for comments on social media are street sweeping. You have to understand, if we don't street sweep, the streets get dirty. If we do street sweep, cars have to be moved out of the way. We have been threaded, we've been walking a very, very fine line. Our street sweeper has been out, but we have not been enforcing alternate side of street parking. Why? Because we fully understand people are home or people are not working. So therefore, I would get the complaints that the street sweeper is driving down the middle of the street and not cleaning the streets because cars were there. And if we tried to enforce it, we had residents complaining that they can't leave their house. How do we expect them to move the cars? So we are street sweeping. We are going in and out of the cars. Last week, I believe, our police department started traveling with the street sweeper, lights and sirens on, putting notices or warnings on cars. I have gotten about 15 or 20 emails telling me that people have been receiving tickets. This is not true. All 15 to 20 of those were incorrect. The police department is merely advising people that by a warning that eventually we are going to start enforcing it. We're thinking that might begin the first week in June 1st. The township social media, the township website, and certainly the police department social media in conjunction with robocalls will announce once we go back to enforcing. So I just want to kind of make that clear. Some other updates that I have from my mayor's report. We have 2 local food pantries. We have St. Peter's Church and we have Little Zion Church. They are both depleted. A lot of people constantly ask me what they can do, how they can volunteer, how can they get involved. Very simple. You can donate to St. Peter's or Little Zion Food Pantry. You could go there direct, or as of today, there is a collection box in Good Health Pharmacy. Good Health Pharmacy is obviously open. It's centrally located. Billy Lynch is a great partner of the township, and he very graciously has given us a spot inside his store for collection. So please help us with that. Next item was an update on the large-scale projects. Manager Iacono already handled that. I do want to say that Essex County, I sit every single week on 2 different mayor's calls with Essex County. Essex County still is testing. They're going to continue to test. They have openings. If you want to be tested, you can go to essexcovid.org and you can register. You do not have to be symptomatic. You can get tested if you just want to get tested. As of today, I communicated with the county and asked them to assist us in setting up testing here in Belleville. They say they're going to help us get some kind of testing set up here in Belleville. But for right now, Belleville residents can utilize essexcovid.org and get registered to get tested. Also in Town Hall, we have a surplus now of face masks. We are trying to allocate them for our seniors and anybody with a compromised immune system, but we will not turn anybody away. If you are in need of face masks, they are here in the building. We prefer you to come pick them up. If you are homebound or if you're a senior and you're not mobile, we will get them to you. You can contact the mayor's office directly or just call the clerk's office. Other than that, keep in mind the last item is census. We are still actively pursuing our census. Our numbers are not great. I do expect them to get better. We do have some very non-traditional events planned to help promote our census. That's it for me, for my mayor's report. Being that we're considering this the first meeting in a month, and we have our ad hoc committees, if anybody has an update for any committee that they serve on, maybe Councilman Graziano will talk to the audio video upgrades, since he's been a council member spearheading that project. Yes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Councilman Graziano's up.
Thank you, Mayor. So as the Mayor shared, we are upgrading in here in the council chambers with monitors, video. It's going to be, we're right there for 2020, thank God. Mm-hmm. So we plan on being completed here within the next 2 weeks. So that's here. Another great update that I'd like to share with everybody is we are now moved to 0365 mail, townwide. It's for police, it's town hall, it's fire. Now we're going to a standard. So the first process happened, and now in the next week we're going to be moving the mail, existing mail up. So it's one-stop shopping for everyone who has their email address. And I'd like to thank Anthony and for helping me spearhead and communicate and get a lot of things done to keep moving the way we're moving with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Again, that was a project, upgrade project that was capitalized last year in a bond, probably over a year ago. And again, we just never had the room empty long enough to actually take on a project like that. And we made the best of a bad situation with COVID. Deputy Mayor, do you have anything?
We just had our monthly grant writers meeting, so we went over a couple things. Believe it or not, there's a lot of grants out there still, so we made all of our applications, so we'll be hearing back from them soon. So I'll let you know what we do.
Thank you. And again, we're a very unique bunch up here. We don't necessarily have standing committees where people are members. If you're a council person, you have an interest or you have a specific knowledge and there's a project going on or something you want to jump in, well, we basically let you jump in there and do it. So does anybody, any council member on the call have anything with regard to a committee or some special project?
Nothing at the moment. No.
Okay. So
I just have a question. It has nothing to do with committees right now, but I just have a question. With the coronavirus out there, are we still going to hire summer help kids like we've done on the previous years?
That I'm going to let the manager answer that. He has brought that up to me. It is something we are very concerned about, and I'm not sure if he has a determination yet, but it is something that we're very concerned with. And also, your question, Councilman Natari, spawned a question that I have too. It kind of does fit in the committees. The status of our summer camp program, that's also still in limbo. Again, not our call with that. We follow the governor's directive on that, but I'll let Anthony speak a little bit about summer staff.
Yeah, so
I
one of our...
did see, excuse me, Anthony, excuse me. I did see on the news earlier today, Channel 12, that they are going to open summer camps. There's a lot of rules that they have to follow, but I did see that. And also on another note, before you speak on this summer help, Anthony, I was very, very happy to see today that the governor is allowing graduations for the schools. I think that starts July 6th, I believe. So if Belleville should do it, I'm sure all the schools will. If Belleville should do it, being that they use the municipal stadium, anything that we can do as a town to help them, because these kids deserve this, and I'm really glad that the governor did lift this.
I agree with you. Manager Iacono?
Yeah, so Councilman, just as it pertains to summer camps, we will take our guidance from the state of New Jersey as far as what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do, because that has not come down from the governor's office. Summer help, right now, we've, in one of our most recent conversations with our insurance advisors, right now there is serious concern of bringing additional employees or additional people into the building. So right now, it's summer jobs are not looking to be favorable for this summer. Again, because whether we bring employees into the public works workforce or we bring additional employees into this building, it's just creating additional liability, additional exposure. So until we know we really have this under control, and the curve is a lot flatter than it is today, right now we're probably not leaning against some help.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Iacono. A lot of our summer help actually works the summer camp program.
Yeah.
So if there's no summer camp,
That is correct. And then again, if we are allowed to provide for a summer camp, certainly we will need high school students to assist with that program. So that would be a yes.
okay, we're going to wait on the governor for that. The one item I failed to mention in my mayor's report was I thought that we did the best job we could possibly have done yesterday with our socially distant and live streamed virtual Memorial Day ceremony.
Yeah.
I thought it went very well. Only myself and the deputy mayor were there. Other council members could have watched or participated that way. It was, I thought we did a good service for pulling that together. A lot of towns canceled their service, their ceremonies, and we did not. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to move forward to communications. Number one.
Letter received from Belleville resident Mateo Acevedo, a youth advocate for the New Jersey Center for Tourette Syndrome, asking for the mayor and municipal council to proclaim June 4th, 2020 as Tourette Syndrome Awareness Day.
That item is on the agenda today, so we will be voting to declare that by resolution at the end of this meeting. Okay, moving on to ordinances. Ordinances for introduction.
Ordinance number 1, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-6A, stop sign intersection designated.
Make a motion, move for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made in second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2, an ordinance to amend revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-6A, four-way stop intersections designated.
Make a motion to move for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made in second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Number 3, an ordinance amending revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Section 23-8.2A, as to definition of sidewalk cafe.
Make a motion to move for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made in second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob?
Yes.
Mayor Melham.
Yes.
Ordinance number 4, an ordinance creating chapter 35 entitled Vendors Mobile.
Make a motion, move for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made and second for intro. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
No.
Strumelob Burke?
No.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. This is just for introduction, so we'll have a chance to discuss and commenting on that next meeting probably. Item number 5.
An ordinance amending revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 2, Section 8.
Make a motion, move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second for introduction. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
No.
Strumelob Burke?
No.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. These are basic cleanup ordinances, everybody. We can explain that as we go forward. Item number 6.
An ordinance amending revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Section 2.28.
Make a motion, move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
No.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
No.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. Item number 7.
An ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Section 23-18.21A3.
Make a motion, move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. So now we have ordinances B, ordinances for public hearing, second and final reading. There's one ordinance, but before we do that, I'm going to have the clerk just read our new notice that we use.
Sure. Due to multiple executive orders declared by Governor Murphy and in an effort to further prevent spread of COVID-19, the May 26, 2020 Town Council meeting will be closed to the general public. This meeting is being streamed live on the township's website, www.bellevillenj.org, as well as on the township's official Facebook page. The public always has an opportunity to make public comment to the mayor and municipal council during the public meetings. With this new format, if you have a comment, please submit it to the township clerk at kcavanaugh@bellevillenj.org by 6 p.m. on Tuesday, May 26th. If there are any comments or questions on the ordinance for public hearing and second and final reading, please submit them as well to the township clerk at kcavanaugh@bellevillenj.org by 6 p.m. on Tuesday, March 26th. The township clerk will read into the record your comments or questions concerning the ordinance during the public hearing and will read your comments during the public portion of the meeting. Please submit your name, address, and state your comment.
Okay, so we have an ordinance number 1 for public hearing, second and final reading.
Correct. Ordinance number 1 for public hearing, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-2.9, parking time limited on certain streets.
I'll make a motion to open it for public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for public hearing. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any comments that were emailed to you about this ordinance?
I did not receive any comments regarding this ordinance.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move for a second and final
Second.
adoption.
All right, we have a motion to close public hearing and move for final adoption at the same time. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All right, I hear a second. Clerk, call the roll. We're closing public commenting and we're making a motion to approve.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham.
Yes.
Ordinance is approved.
So now we have item number C, so I'm gonna ask my council colleagues to follow along with me on this and ask our learned counsel to guide me through this. I believe what we have to do is take these off the table. We have to vote to take them off the table, and then we have to vote to table them with notice for the next meeting.
Notify, yes. So you're gonna vote to take, if you want, you'll vote to take it off the table and to place it on the agenda for next meeting.
It's another vote,
For
though.
another vote, to place it on the next meeting. You can really do them in one vote, but if you'd like, but.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can do them on one vote.
All right, so, I got it. So the next meeting date is when, Cal?
June 9th.
June 9th. All right, so members of the council, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna entertain a motion to take ordinance, can we do ordinance 1 and 2 together?
What? Yeah, you can do it
Okay,
together.
I'm gonna entertain a motion to take ordinance 1 and 2. We're gonna vote to take it off the table, and at the same time, we're gonna vote to also put notice so it appears on the agenda for second reading for the June 9th council meeting.
So moved.
So
Right.
moved.
It's gonna be for second reading, a public hearing that will be held.
All right, so we're now gonna vote to take it off the table, and we're gonna vote that it appears in next meeting's second public final reading.
Second and final reading.
Okay, I heard a motion and I heard a second. So can we call a roll on that?
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Oh, you forgot Councilman
Okay.
Graziano.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilman Graziano, I apologize.
And that was for ordinance 1 and 2, right?
Yes.
Ordinance 1 and 2,
Right,
correct.
so they have now come off the table, and they're on the agenda for second reading next meeting.
Correct.
Notice will be given, all that nice.
Correct.
Okay,
Notice of the meeting will be given. They
right.
won't be republished.
Right. We've given notice that,
We've given notice that it's gonna be heard next meeting. It'll be on the agenda for next meeting for public hearing.
yes.
Like it, okay. So next item we have is item number 12, which is public comments. I'm not gonna ask the clerk to reread that whole paragraph, she already read it once. The paragraph is for both second and final, and it's also for public comments. So with that being said, I need a motion to,
Make a motion to open public comments?
Second.
we have a motion made and second to open for public comments. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena? Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. So, Madam Clerk, have we received any comments for today's public commenting portion?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Are you gonna take them in the same order that I have them?
Yes. The first one I received is from a gentleman by the name of Manny Lopez, who lives at 106 Catherine Avenue. And he states, I believe this has been brought up before and possibly addressed, but it just keeps happening. What exactly is the township administration doing to address this nuisance of circulars all over the place? And I gave each one of you pictures of what Mr. Lopez has sent to us.
Last year, we passed a ordinance to try and force these people to respect the opt-out. There is an opt-out number on these bags. I'm told that they usually don't care. They just come down the street and throw them all over the place. We did discuss maybe banning it. It's a First Amendment issue with the press. And also, I received a ton of outrage because people actually do like them. Short term, I guess property owners are responsible to pick them up. 2, you can try and opt out. 3, if you opt out and they do not abide by that opt out, I'm assuming somebody in this building could enforce something.
We did a completely new ordinance for these last year.
I remember.
And there's specific requirements for the individuals that distribute them. And if those.
It's an enforcement issue, though. It's not.
It's an enforcement issue, and, this is also, I believe the property owner has a right themselves to file a complaint if they want to. That doesn't, it's an ordinance that a property owner can enforce, just like if you file a complaint, you file yourself a complaint against a neighbor for something that they do in violation of the township code. So if an individual person who receives one of these believes that it's in violation, they have a right as well to file a summons in the municipal court for a violation of the ordinance. So it could be an enforcement issue on our end if this is.
I don't believe the nature of the complaint. It is certainly specific to his property, but he also says circulars all over the place. So, and I agree, it's a litter issue too. So that's
Right,
that's on
which is
us.
why we changed the ordinance, okay, which is why you changed the ordinance.
So who enforces, since you wrote it, who enforces it, do you know?
The police can enforce it, the
All
township
right.
can enforce it.
Anthony, can you
Ordinances.
look at that? 'Cause
But
you weren't here for that.
It may be,
No, but I could,
That might be our property maintenance guy in the
I was
future.
just gonna say that,
That'd
in
be
the
good.
future, it could be the property maintenance guy.
Right, so can you just give your,
I mean, I
update
don't think
yourself
this
on
is
that?
really something the police should do.
No, they're not gonna be the circular police.
No, they got enough stuff to do, they don't need to be a circuit.
All right, next.
The next one I have is from Mario Draws, 95 Bell Street, New States. The following question from the public comment. I have always asked why the full agenda and its contents are not posted online. In review of the video posted online, you said it was taking time and asked why previous governing bodies never did it. First of all, this kind of technology was not available in 1990 to 2000. You served on the council from 2000 to 2004. Why did you not post that information since you are part of the past governing bodies that you chastised? You did such a great job that there was a recall petition against you after you were in office 1 year. You should learn to work with people and stop being critical of because we do not share your personal vision 100%. America is a democracy with checks and balances, not ruled by a king. Ordinance number 2. If I am correct.
Six.
Oh, 6, I'm sorry. Ordinance number 6, if I am correct, pertains to medical benefits from the town council. Whose idea was it to put this on the agenda? Is this ordinance to give you and council members health benefits? If it is, what is the actual cost per member? Did the entire council discuss this at a public session? If so, when? Ordinance number 5, what is the purpose of this ordinance? I noticed that it says mayor and council introduced the following ordinance. I asked all the council members, when did all of you discuss this? Is it true that an employee is getting a raise of about $30,000 to $35,000? Might be someone who has worked on your campaign. You cannot give a raise like that to match the previous person's salary, since that person was there for over 25 years, not 1 year. As I have stated in the past, I do support short-term tax abatement of 5 years, maybe even 10 years, not your 25, 30 years. That do not pay their fair share for our school systems. Abatements and tax breaks are the same. Either one does not pay their fair share. Tell that to the 4,500 senior households and see if they agree with you. Last, is it true that our budget is short $6 million? What have you done to lower the impact of a large tax increase? The Star Ledger reported that in the month of April, 1.6 million borrowers were stopped paying their mortgages. Keep spending and you may have a repeat of 2001.
Okay.
I can answer it.
Just looking at it, I'm assuming they're directed to me, even though you don't really know that. So agendas, we are still working on the agenda software. I'm not in charge of it. I was on the council when we discussed it. We hired the company. The company has been working with our clerk. When our clerk is ready to pull the trigger on that, we will have it. And again, something that no other council has ever done before, even 2 or 3 years ago, when you could put the whole agenda up if you want as a PDF, that still wasn't done. So it will be done now, and something I'm, again, happy about, actually. Ordinance 6 and 5. 5 and 6. 6 is which one?
5 is the planning board one, 6 is the.
So 5 and 6 are, we're on for first reading today. 5 and 6 are what we consider cleanup ordinances. We've talked a lot about inconsistent ordinances. We've talked a lot about ordinances that are in 2 different places. We've talked a lot about ordinances that we can't enforce because we no longer have the departments to do that. Ordinance 6 and 5 are both considered cleanup ordinances. None of them actually add any money to this year's budget from the best I can tell. Their cleanup, we're trying to get things in place for July 1st, so that July 1st, we reorganize, we start making some board appointments. We have things kind of in working order that way. Public commenting and discussion, further discussion will come the next meeting when we do them, but 5 and 6 are certainly what I consider cleanup ordinances. I'm assuming they either were derived from either the attorney or the town manager at that time. Next item, is it true that an employee is getting a raise? So every single time I get this, every single time it's not true. If you remember a comment a couple weeks ago, somebody with initials AS was getting a big job. And I wish people would just realize that none of that ever pans out. I just wish they would realize that. If they realize that this is not like it was 5, 6, or 8 years ago, they would start respecting the fact that we are working really hard, and that dovetails into what have we been doing to lower the budget and everything else. Again, this governing body, meaning every single one of us, does not get any of the credit, but more times than not, every single time we've amended the salary ordinance, we've actually reduced salaries. Any new employees, and by the way, there are less employees today than there were 2 years ago. Every single one of them goes into a lower classification. Why is that? We're not going to end up anymore with $90,000 or $100,000 a year clerks that can't work email. Okay, that's not happening. Do we get credit for that? No. We've actually eliminated positions too. We eliminated a judge position, I believe. Nobody talked about that. We reduced the salary of our new judge. We didn't get any credit for that either. So we've actually reduced a lot of salaries. We've deleted a lot of positions.